Hey, what's up everyone? This is King Mammy, and in this video we're going to go over an asset for world persistent variables and just kind of get you started with that here. I did make an asset. It is in the public assets library. You'll see it here. It's called world PV example, first 100 players. We can just find this and take it out like that. You're going to say okay because it contains a script that we'll go over briefly. And there we go. It did come with this nice little environment gizmo. We're gonna go ahead and move all of this down to floor level. Think about there's nice. Let's see. That's good. And of course you don't need to use any of these assets. This is just like a little setup to give it a little life, a little visual. But in reality, the most important part here is kind of the script for world persistent variables, and I'm using a leaderboard, and it's mainly this trigger that we're going to be using here that the script is running. All right, so to get started, world persistent variable, it's something that came out, I think, about a month or two ago. Basically, it will allow us to store information across all instances of your world or game in Horizon Worlds. And so how it differs from a player persistent variable is it's not saved to the player, it's saved to the world itself, right? So for example, for a player persistent variable, we would give them a score or how many visits they had to a world, or um, if they had how many KOs, like if it was a PvP shooter, or how many wins, etc. And then we would have a leaderboard and save those player persistent variables to the leaderboard. In this case, we're going to be using world persistent variables. And what we're going to do here in this example is we want to capture the first 100 players that come into, you could either be your world for the first time. In this particular case, it's going to be this trigger. So only the first 100 players across all instances that are open, the first 100 players are going to be captured, and that will be stored to that count will be collected by our world PPV, and then we're going to put those players, those 100 players, up here with the number that they came in. So if they were the fifth player, if they were the 10th player, the 55th player, this is where we're going to show that. But then after the first 100 players, that's it. So what I have here to demonstrate this is basically kind of like a VIP area. This could be a second level of a game. This could be an event. I think these will work really great with events, these world persistent variables. So you can have an event and say the first 100 players to arrive at the event, they get a special weapon or a special 100 extra currency points or a special attachable, a hat, a clothing item to wear in this secluded area with using avatar override. So not giving them, you know, a free avatar item, but you can use something called overrides and have them wear your clothing while they're in your world only, and doesn't cost them anything. I will make another video for that at a later date. But so here, the example is simply this trigger is going to detect the player. We are using a player persistent variable, and we'll go over that right now here in a second. We'll be using a player persistent variable and a world persistent variable at the same time to see if the player that comes into this trigger has made it into the top 100, or if they did not make it into the top 100. This will determine if they're allowed to spawn up here into this private or secret or VIP area. Or again, you can use it to give them an extra 100 points or any other use case you would like. And it doesn't have to be 100. It could be the first 1,000. It could be whatever you want to do, but just want to get you started here. So first off, let's open the script up that came, which is this special event script. So we'll open this up and we'll just go over this and kind of break it down. And I made it easy for you guys so you don't have to, like if you literally wanted to keep the same script, you can, and you just have to change out these variables and leaderboard names up here. And we'll go through that because this is a brand new world and I just brought the asset in. So I will walk you through this step by step, exactly what you need to do to make this work in your world. So let's do that first. So first we're going to need a player persistent variable, and then we're going to need a world persistent variable. Let's focus on those two things. So to do that, let's go to systems. We're going to go to variable groups, I already had a variable group in here. Let's just delete it. Let's pretend this was a completely new world. Okay, so I'm going to create a variable group. I'm going to call it new world. And we're just click create on that. And now we're going to add two variables. The first one is here, player persistent. And this is going to be, let's see, limited, what should we call this? Let's say special access. Okay. And then we need to create a second variable. So that's for the players. And then for our world persistent variable, we are going to call this limited event. And initial value, we'll leave that at 0. And we are going to leave this as a number variable because we're just going to count up to 100. Very simple. Now we have a world variable. You'll see that it has this like globe icon. The player one has like a player icon. The cool part now, we can just copy this. So I'm going to copy the player variable. And then we're going to open our script up. All right. And here for player persistent var, we're going to swap it out and paste it in. All right, let's save that. And now let's go back here. You'll see up here that it's updating. Now let's get the limited event PPV for our world variable. And let's go back here. And we're just going to remove this, paste the new one. And we're going to save that with Control S. And now that's updated. And now the last thing we need is this leaderboard. So if I click on this leaderboard, we notice that there's nothing attached and there's no leaderboards in this drop down. This is where we need to assign this gizmo to a leaderboard in the systems. So we're going to go here to systems. We're going to go ahead and create a new leaderboard. We'll call this event 100. We want this to be ascending because I want number 1 to be at the top and then go all the way down to 100. We're not going to reset it for today, so we'll just click create. It will take a second for this leaderboard to update, but it will. There it is. It's called event 100. This one doesn't have a copy, but it's just the name. So event 100. So let's put that in the script. All right, so here where we have first 100 players, in my original asset, we're going to type in event 100, Control S for save. This script and code now works in your world. If you just followed these steps, excuse me, I'm sorry, we need to update our gizmo. Click on the leaderboard gizmo, click on the drop down, and select event 100. Now, this script will work in your world. Do note that there is a bug with desktop editor, so your leaderboard is not going to update. At least mine doesn't. I think you have to either do it in preview mode or publish the world and see it in a published version. I'll show you the published version of this world that I created that's available to the public so you can see it as well. But our scripts are good. We're going to click on console over here and we're going to start the world. There's no errors, good. And we're just going to spawn into the world now. All right, cool. So now we're going to walk in. All right, it says, congrats, you are player number 1. And now I'm able to be up here in this secret secluded area. And then if I go back into the trigger again, it's just going to spawn me because I'm already inside of one of those 100 people. Let's go to the script real quick if you would like to see pretty much what I've done here. Very simple, trigger enter events. So this script is running on the trigger. Once a player enters a trigger, we are getting their player persistent variable. So I am using player persistent variable in this case because I want to have a 0, meaning that they haven't entered the event yet. And then when that happens, I want to know how many players out of the 100 are already entered. So I'm getting that here with this world persistent storage, get world counter, and then the world variable. And then if we're under 100 people so far for this world variable, then we're going to go ahead and increment it by 1, and that's the code right here. with this persistent world storage, increment world counter, async, and then this is the name of the world variables. You see here as we hover over it, and then a 1. So we're adding 1. We can do 2, we can do 5. Right now we're just going to increment by 1. Then we have this dot then, which means once that's done and updated, we have the new total. And I'm going to grab this new total. So it was started at 0, and I was the first player that entered the trigger. So that's plus 1. So now this new value is 1. And I'm giving that player a pop-up saying, congrats, you are player number, and then the new value, which in my case was 1. If someone else were to come in right now, they would be number 2 and then number 3. So they'll see this pop-up saying, congrats, you are player number 55, 60, 70, etc. And then I'm also taking that value, that new number, and I'm going to use that to put them on the leaderboard. And that's this part of the code right here. This world leaderboards set score for player, the name of the leaderboard, which is event 100, the player, that new value, which is the number out of the 100 that they were, and false, you can just leave that as false. That means it's like for overriding if it's going in the opposite direction of the leaderboard, which for us is ascending. Okay, so basically this code right here is going to go ahead and push 1, which it did, but again, in desktop editor standalone right now, we're not able to see the values for the leaderboards. I think they're still trying to fix that. But I will show you in publish here in a second. Let's just finish going over the script. And then, so basically, if they are inside of this 100, I am also not just going to put them on the leaderboard, I'm going to change their persistent variable to the number 2. So they started as 0 on their player persistent variable. So this is unique just to the player. And they started at 0. And then if they're inside this 100, I'm going to change it to 2. The reason I'm going to do that is because when they do come into this trigger again, I'm just going to listen, or I'm going to check if their number is 2, they get to be spawned. And you might be thinking, well, why are we skipping 1? We'll get to that in a second. So they'll be set to number 2 for their player persistent variable. And then I'm going to spawn them to that special spawn location, which is that code right here. If they come into the event or the world and we're already at over 100 already, if we already got the first 100 players and it's 101, then what's going to happen is this else. And this else is going to be, we're going to set them to 1, which means that they showed up, but they didn't make it within that first 100. And we're going to give them this pop-up, letting them know, hey, spots go fast. Play 10 minutes in the world and you get a free pass to that level or to that secret area. And you guys, this is where you guys get creative and do whatever you want to do, you know, however you want to do it. But basically, I'm just letting them know here, like, hey, you know, you weren't in the first 100, but if you see in the world 10 minutes, I'll give you a pass to be in that area. Okay, so all of that happens if the player is number 0, meaning that he has not entered that trigger once yet. If he has entered that trigger once, that means we have given him a number, which was either 2 or 1. So now we're going down here, this part of the code. So if that number is 1, we're going to give him that same pop-up, letting him, hey, you know, you didn't make it in top 100, but stay 10 minutes, you're going to be in this. So if they come back like the next day or later that day and the 100 spots are already gone, they're going to get a pop-up letting them know, hey, I'm still giving you access, just stay 10 minutes. Obviously, this part of this is not actually, I did not script this. This is where you guys decide what to do for those players that didn't get in the top 100. And then lastly, if they are number 2, when I come into the trigger again, then I'm going to teleport them to that spawn point position. So again, right now I already got in that top 100, and now I'm going to come back into the world, let's say a few hours later, and I want to get access to that secret club or whatever, and boom. I'm already up here, I'm good, I can chill, watch the sunset with the fire. Cool. Let me show you real quick with, let's see if we can pull it up here. Let me show you real quick. All right. So I'm going to show you right now with preview. So this world is published. So if you want to visit it and just check it out in person, I mean, it's not much to look at. You can just test it and make sure that the world PPV is working. But here we are in preview. You see the leaderboard values are there now. Same thing. I go up here. I'm good. So here only a couple people, myself and Alina, have made it. And you see I was the first player. She was the second, and it will just continue all the way to 100. Once 100 has been reached with the world PPV, then that's it. No one else will have special access to that upstairs part, this upstairs part of the world. So pretty simple demo, example, explanation, demonstration, and pretty much just to get you guys started if you weren't sure how to use it, or just kind of like showing you in the code how it could be used, so you guys have the code and the asset. So make sure to pull it out of the library. It's in this right here, the asset, public asset library. Make sure to give it an upvote. And if you guys keep upvoting, I will continue, happy to continue to provide more assets for you guys. Let me know what else you guys want. So thank you guys for watching, like, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.